Hey, how's it going everybody? I'm Shadow Stitch and I like solo running Pokemon Black and White. So last week I took on the game with Gothitelle, and yeah, it's a mono-psychic type Pokemon, and those have not been fantastic in the Unova region. There's got a whole lot going against it, and as we bring in the tier list, we see it landed in the C tier, so pretty much kind of what I expected. It was still pretty fun though, so definitely go check that out if you haven't already. And you know, goth girls, they do got to represent. So all the rest of the Pokemon in here do have videos on the channel, and we still have a lot of re-ranks to do to catch up. But if you want to see my entire catalog, or if anything piques your interest, there is a playlist linked down below at the end of the video and on that little iCard thing that popped up, so definitely go check that out if you want to. But stick around today because we are going to be moving on with Spooky Month to a Pokemon I've really been looking forward to playing, Galvantula. So this Pokemon is incredibly cool. It has always been one of my favorite electric type Pokemon since it came out. I would have to really think about it, but it's definitely really up there. It very possibly could be my favorite if I really thought about it. So it is an awesome spider, even though it is you know, in the same camp as Ariados, where, you know, it's a spider with not enough legs, but who cares? It's just awesome. It's got a great design. It looks awesome. In competitive, it got some really cool tools later on, especially Sticky Web, which is a fantastic entry hazard that lowers your opponent's speed upon entry, which is really cool. So it's kind of frail, but you know, being able to have that really good entry hazard has always made it like a solid option in potential lower tiers, and I just always had a lot of fun with that Pokemon. So overall though, it is fantastic, and I have really been looking forward to this one because the very first solo challenge that I actually ever did was years and years ago. I wanted to try my hand at a solo challenge of Galvantula in Black and White 2. So yeah, my first solo challenges were actually in the sequels of these games. I have no idea where that footage is, but knowing me, I'm a pack rat and it's out there on the internet somewhere. I just have to find where it is. But yeah, it's just a really cool Pokemon, and I've really been looking forward to doing this one in, you know, my favorite of the solo running games so far that I've played, Black and White 1. So yeah, this is gonna be really cool. But is any of that going to translate into a good time today? Honestly, I think it will. So you see the rules on screen, and you can check out the description for some more niche stuff. Let's go ahead and get into it and see how the Galvantula-line does in Pokemon Black and White. As we get into the game, I'm actually not going to start things right off with talking about the Pokemon like I normally do, because we have something kind of fun going on here. So the starting moveset, as we see, is String Shot, Leech Life, Spider Web, and Thunder Wave. That means that we can get through this Oshawott, albeit a little slowly, but once we actually get to Cheren's Tepig, this is almost impossible for us to win. Yeah, we have 15 Leech Lives, and while the first rival fights here, they do have an AI that will try to let you win. It's not guaranteed. So for the first time ever, I am actually not going to be able to beat both of the rivals, and I'm going to lose this just by the way that I do these solo challenges, preloading the starter into the run before it begins. I do actually have to let the Snivy knock out as well before we can even getting into playing the run. So that doesn't necessarily count as a blackout because you don't have to win this fight, but it is just so funny that this is the first Pokemon I've ever done that cannot win both of the rival fights. It's just kind of hilarious. So let's go ahead and get through this early game. Let's start talking about the Pokemon. Let's bring in the stats for Joltik. This little dude is awesome. 65 is fantastic speed. We're pretty much going to be outspeeding everything in the early game without too much problem. 57 special attack isn't too bad, but we're not going to be getting to Electro Web, our first special move, for quite a while. We do have okay attack at 47 and actually mediocre defenses with 50 in all of them, so that's not too bad. Bug and electric typing is actually deceptively good offensively. The bug typing lets us hit the ground types for neutral damage, and that's pretty cool. And the electric type is just overall actually a pretty good type offensively. Pretty much only getting walled by ground types and some grass types, so that's not too bad, which of course the bug type helps with. Our ability that we're going to be going with today is Compound Eyes. So this is a fantastic ability. It passively boosts the accuracy of our moves by 1.3 times. That means that anything that's, I believe, around 75 accuracy, maybe a little more, I don't know, somebody correct me in the comics, is going to become 100% accuracy, and that's awesome. So yeah, this ability is fantastic. It has always been one of the top ones, and we are going to be abusing it very well today. So like we talked about, our starting moveset of String Shot, Leech Life, Spider Web, and Thunder Wave leaves much to be desired, but we will be able to pick up things like Fury Cutter, Electro Web pretty quickly. Bug Bite is not too bad, and then we just kind of go from there until we evolve at level 36 into Galvantula. So this Pokemon is awesome. 108 speed is fantastic. That is more than enough to outspeed everything in the entire game, so we're not really too worried about that. 97 special attack is not bad at all, and we even have a serviceable 77 base attack. Same ability, same typing, and pretty much the same level up move pool where, we top out at level 60 with Bug Buzz. Not too bad. Now, for the TM side of things, we get Charge Beam. Now, I have had a lot of problems with Charge Beam in the past. Think of things like Zebstrika, and like we did just last week with Gothitelle, where we had to heavily rely on Charge Beam for boosts, and yeah, we missed a lot. Well, Galvantula is not going to have any problems with that thanks to Compound Eyes, so that's just fantastic. This Pokemon was born to Charge Beam, but something else it was really born to do is drop Thunders, and with 70% accuracy, that's not great, but thanks to Compound Eyes, that's going to go up to 91% accuracy, so that's awesome. We have a huge power boost that not a lot of Pokemon get to use very consistently. So overall, though, it is a pretty straightforward TM move pool, and I'm just really looking forward to this. I think we're going to struggle a little bit here in the early game with Joltik, and as we get into it, we're seeing that the rival fights, not too bad. We are going to definitely go to the Dream Yard before we fight off with Cheren, but since we picked up Screech, we're actually able to lower that defense quite a bit and just muscle our way through. So even Cheren with his super effective Tepig isn't too bad. So let's go ahead and power through the gym and face off with our first gym leader. All right, let's do this, Chili. So we're facing off with him, but we have Fury Cutter, and we're able to build that up pretty well against the Lillipup. It is going to be resisted on the Pansear, and unfortunately, it actually is going to be outspeeding us. One of the very few things here in this entire early game that's going to be able to outspeed us, and that's thanks to our pretty underwhelming medium-fast growth rate. We're just not gaining enough experience very quickly in this early game. So, one Blackout, that's not really too bad. We're going to get to level 13, and now we're going to be speed tying the Pansear, and because of that, we're actually able to get through, well, with only one Blackout. Honestly, not half bad for our first gym badge. We have a pretty major disadvantage. We can't even rely on Oran Berries like we can the other guys, because Chili is, kind of the hardest one of the three because of that Incinerate move. So, anyway, let's go ahead, head into the Dream Yard, grab our monkey, cut down a tree, and beat up a couple Plasma dudes before we can head out towards Route 3. We are going to stop by the preschool to do a little bit of training. These are pretty much the only trainers that are more or less worth it, and because of that, we are going to be picking up Electro Web at level 15. I can also grab the Ultra Ball in the sandbox over here before healing up at the house, and thanks to us having a spread move, we can actually take on the double battle much quicker than we normally would be able to. So Cheren is actually pretty easy now that we have a special move using our higher special attack, and we don't have to worry about resisted damage, so he's pretty easy. So let's go ahead, beat up a couple dudes in the Wellspring Cave, pick up a couple HM friends, and head into Nakreen City. Cheren's going to hook us up with some Chesto Berries, and then we're going to go straight into Pinwheel Forest for a bunch of training. So on top of the Nurse, which is going to be a great healing spot set up for us, we're going to beat up my boy Kita and pretty much all the other trainers in here. So we cut it a little bit close against the fighters since their Timbers do have Rock Throw, but other than that, we're going to pick up a couple HM friends and learn Bug Bite along the way, so that's pretty nice. So we're going to go ahead and deposit our team and then go face off with N as we enter into the gym. He's pretty free and none of the gym leaders give us any problems, so let's face off with Lenora. So if you've seen any of my solo challenges by now, you've probably guessed that Lenora's not going to be very easy for us. Unfortunately, we're just barely missing out on the 2 KO, even with the takedown self-damage, so I'm actually not even going to bother. I'm going to go straight into Pinwheel Forest, and we're going to try to do some Autono grinding. So, Autono grinding, in a casual sense, is fantastic. It is a great way to gain a tons of experience and just, get leveled up pretty quickly. However, you have to get a shaky grass to appear, and that is why a lot of people maybe suggest it, but it just isn't that feasible a lot of the time in these solo challenges, because as we're seeing right now, this is taking a lot of time to get a shaky grass to even show up. And I was actually really curious about this, so I actually asked the ROM hacking Discord that I'm in how this actually works. So on screen, you can see the messages that I got in response to this question. If you are, familiar with coding language and stuff like that, you could probably read and, decipher this a lot better than I could. But the long and short of it is, on every step, this function activates. And for each map, there is a different base random chance. And so that's very interesting that every single map is going to be different for this method. And as we see, we finally got our first Autono, and we are going to get a big old chunk of experience. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, every single map is going to be different for this. And whenever you do that, you have a base amount of a random chance, and then that number is going to be multiplied by 10 and then compared with a number between 1 and 1,000. If your number is higher, then you get a shaky grass. If your number is lower, you don't get a shaky grass. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So overall, it's just a very interesting mechanic, and I was really thankful to Refined Plat and Doraro over in the ROM hacking Discord for explaining that to me. So we've gotten to level 21 now, and I hope you guys had a fun time learning something new. Let's go ahead and try Lenora one more time here. So we're going to get into it. We're going to go for an Electro Web, not bother with the Thunder Wave this time. Does look like we are going to be getting the 2-shot. I'm going to try to Thunder Wave just, to get a little bit more luck. Unfortunately, we're not able to beat the Watchog, so we are back to grinding. So, however, I feel a little bit more confident after that win, so let's go ahead and skip to the winning attempt. Alright, here we go, Lenora. So only after 5 blackouts, not too bad. I did do a little bit more I don't know, grinding in between there, just to be sure. But yeah, overall, we get to level 23. That's going to give us a damage rounding threshold right there. We're still going to go for the Thunder Wave. We got that Chesto Berry, so we can avoid us a Hypnosis. And 3-shot onto the Watchog. Not bad. Second gym badge down. So lots of time spent there, but most of that was just running up and down, trying to get Shaky Grass for Autonos. It's always really frustrating whenever Lenora is this much of a problem that we can't just blackout grind on her, because that is just so much faster. So anyway, though, let's go ahead and chase the Plasma Dudes into Pinwheel Forest and move on. Nothing really special in Pinwheel Forest. We are going to battle the extra Herdier guy for a little bit more experience. We're even 3-shotting this Herdier, which is kind of crazy. And then we're going to clear out a couple trainers on the bridge, so they're out of the way when we come back here for a rare candy before crossing that gorgeous Skyra Bridge and heading into Castalia City. As we enter into the big city, the usual stuff is going to go down. We're going to stop by the first skyscraper, head upstairs, grab the TM for rest, and get a massage from the girl downstairs. Then we're going to head up to the North Street, grab the Eviolate, a fantastic held item, boosting our defense and special defense as long as we stay unevolved. But we're also going to be going up this skyscraper and grabbing the TM for Attract. We don't get this very often, but it's going to be a major player in a fight later on. While I'm up here, I'm actually going to make a quick stop over on Route 4 to battle the fishermen out here. Shoutouts to my boy Andrew, and they just give fantastic experience, and it's going to be really nice for us to face off with our next gym leader. So overall, though, nothing too crazy. We're going to go ahead and start the plasma sequence, stop by the battle company for a little bit more training, and as we leave there, we're level 28, so we can power through the gym trainers and face off with our third gym leader. So with all of that training and our Eviolite backing us up, this should be pretty easy. We're going to get a nice 2-shot onto the Whirlipede. We're going to get another 2-shot onto the Dwebble, and then 2 shots with the Bug Bite onto the Levani. Nice and easy. And we even pick up the move Electro Ball. So this is a pretty interesting move. It does more damage the faster you are than your opponent. So maybe whenever we get to Galvantula, this might have a little bit more use, but Joltik is falling off a little bit in the speed department, so it's pretty much going to be about the same damage for the most part as with Electro Web. Of course, this pairs pretty well with Electro Web, but we're probably 2-shotting with that anyway, so while this sounds like a good move, it's really kind of okay at best. So it's going to be somewhat useful against this battle with Bianca. She's really easy, so that's nice. Let's go ahead and heal up at the house and then face off with Cheren. This fight is pretty tough. We are in the sandstorm. We're going to be taking that constant chip damage, and especially the Pig Knight is going to be a problem. We do have Electro Web, so he's never going to be faster than us with those flame charges, but unfortunately that sand did take him right into his citrus berry range. So we do take it out, but we're just way too low, and the sand's always going to chip us down, so we take a race out there. Really unfortunate, but I did save. However, the second time around, I'm actually going to be using Bug Bite, so I can actually steal that citrus berry. So it's still a 3-shot, but you know, at least he doesn't get his citrus berry, so that's kind of cool. So overall, though, this is still a really close fight, and we just barely eke it out with some better damage ranges and stuff like that, and we're finally able to move on into Nimbasa City. After chasing out the plasma guys, we get a bike from some old guy, have a quick chat with Bianca, and then we are set free into town to do some normal chores. I'm going to stop by the Pokemon Center and grab the TM for return. Honestly, I think this is a little bit of a mistake. I don't think that I actually needed return in this run. If I ever did do this again, I would completely skip this, but I am going to, you know, get a nice free heal right here, grab the HM for strength, and head up here to do a little bit of Pokemon dress up before we head out to Route 16 to do some training. So these guys don't give terrible experience, and we're definitely going to need it a little bit before we head into the amusement park for our wonderful Ferris wheel ride date with N. We do cut it really close against N, but it's still pretty easy, and we can head through the gym. And on our way through the gym, thanks to all that training that we did, once we hit level 33, we're going to use one rare candy so that we can get Signal Beam early, just in time to face off with Elisa. So for Elisa, on paper, this fight should be very easy. We can go for an Electro Web, and because her Zebstrika in the back has Lightning Rod, we're able to switch up moves and tag that for a nice easy two-shot with that Signal Beam that we picked up. We are two-shotting pretty much everything, but they're not actually able to do too much damage to me, so that's awesome. 4th gym badge in the books. Let's head out towards Route 4 and meet up with Cheren. Did I say Route 4? I'm sorry, I meant Route 5. So this fight, very different than the one that we did have on Route 4, though. We still have to deal with the Pig Knight, but thanks to no longer having sand chipping away at us, we are able to make our way through this fight relatively easily. So we do cut it, still pretty close, only 13 HP, but we get a nice free heal here before we beat up some toddlers. It is a double battle, so Electro Web is still pulling its weight. So after that, we're going to battle the Sigilif guy for some good experience and special attack EVs right before we evolve up at level 36 into Galvantula, and then we can head into Driftvale City. Really quick stop today in Driftvale. We're just going to grab the PP up in the trash can and head inside to deal with the Plasma guys. We're fully evolved now. We have no problems whatsoever. So let's get out of here, grab the Expert Belt in the market, and then head into the gym. However, as we are making our way through the gym, you'll notice I have gotten Attract, because this is going to be very important for us whenever we get into Clay. That's right, we're using the power of love. Let's do this. Alright, so for Clay, Krokorok isn't a problem. Of course, we got super effective Signal Beam for that, but then the big problem comes out, Excadrill. This thing loves lowering my speed. It has super effective Rock Slide, and it can set up damage with Hone Claws. Yeah, you know why I needed Attract. However, we do have Signal Beam. It has a chance to confuse. Unfortunately, we just don't have enough gas in the tank, and we didn't get enough luck with Attract, so we take a reset. And unfortunately, we take a couple more. I do actually get past the Excadrill one time, but I'm just way too low health, and I've taken too many speed drops, so the Palpitoad actually knocks me out, which is really unfortunate. So eventually, the power of love will prevail, so let's go ahead and skip to the winning attempt. Alright, here we go. Krokorok comes out, no problems. Goodbye. I did attract it for some reason, but whatever. So, attract onto the Excadrill, and then we just go to town. The power of love is definitely coming through right here. We have to get through. There we go. We get a nice confusion, and that puts it in range of one more Signal Beam. Palpitoad, it is going to live into the red, but no problems right there. And there we go. We have our 5th gym badge in the bag. So yeah, not very often we have to utilize the power of love in one of these runs, but it's always really fun whenever we do. So let's go ahead, head out of here, grab some Max Repels and Hyper Potions. Bianca on the way out of town, no problems, and then we can head into Chargestone Cave. As we make our way through Chargestone, I'm going to talk to the Nugget Brothers, and we're going to get a couple nuggets, so that's pretty cool. The Gauntlet, no issues whatsoever. We're not going to head downstairs. We have no need for that extra training. However, I will battle one extra trainer, so we can grab the Magnet, which is going to be fantastic for us at boosting our electric-type moves right here. So, and on the way out is no problem. Thankfully, he does have a couple Pokemon that can hit us super effectively, but nothing really too bad. And there we go, we can head into Mistralton City. As we head out to Mistralton, we get to Route 7, where I get the TM for Charge Beam. I touched on it earlier, but this is going to be a fantastic fantastic option for us. Allows us to have a very consistent move thanks to compound eyes, and it lets us also boost our special attack, so that's great. So let's go ahead, battle a couple of trainers, including the Fatfish Nurse, and meet up with Skyla at the top of the tower. At the top of the tower, we can ring that bell to send Skyla back to the gym, and lets me say, hey, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching this video. If you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing. I do these solo challenges and Pokemon Black and White at least once a week over here, and I have actually decided that I'm going to make a goal for myself to try to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year, and of course I can only do that with your help. So if you're cool with that, I know it's kind of cringe to always ask for subs and stuff like that, but hey, you're helping me towards a goal, and I would really appreciate it, because who doesn't like funny internet number going up? So anyway, let's go ahead, just power through this gym. Of course, nothing's gonna give us any problems in here, and face off with Skyla. Alright, Skyla time.
You've been thunderstruck. Thunderstruck. Yeah, thunderstruck. Thunderstruck.
So let's get our 6th gym badge, head out towards Twist Mountain, and face off with Cheren. He's going to be no problem whatsoever, so let's see Alder's wonderful bionic legs, get the HM for Surf, and head into Twist Mountain. I have nothing interesting to say in Twist Mountain, but we do pick up a nugget here and heal up at the doctor before popping out on the other side at Icarus City. So in here in the Pokemon Center, you have this old guy right here, and he will buy things like nuggets and stuff like that for double the price, which is fantastic. So we're going to sell those 3 nuggets that we picked up, and then buy the TM for Thunder. So there we go. We got that massive power boost right here. Most Pokemon just top out at, you know, their Thunderbolt, their Flamethrower, Ice Beam kind of level. Galvantula gets to go one step further, and that's just awesome. So let's just drop some Thunders throughout this gym and make our way to Bryson. Say it with me, folks. Bryson is an absolute joke. We're gonna go for a Charge Beam, get a boost, and then finish it off with another. Beartic's gonna come out. We're gonna drop a Thunder, and that's immediately gonna go down. And then we have Return for that Cryogonal right there. Honestly, I didn't need Return. I could have saved a little bit of money and maybe a little bit of time if I just kept Bug Bite. So I pretty much only had Return for those Cryogonals. So yeah, honestly, if I ever did this again, I'd just keep Bug Bite. It's pretty much going to serve the same purpose. So anyway, let's go ahead, head into the Dragon Spiral Tower and do some gauntlets. And you know, it's time for story time. So I'm actually going to tell you guys kind of a funny work story that happened actually this week. So for those of you guys that may not know, I work for Walmart. I'm a maintenance technician for them. So pretty much all the stuff that they break, that's what I get to fix every day. So anyway, we had a scissor lift, a really old scissor lift at the Sam's Club that I service, and it was just in terrible shape. So they were getting rid of that scissor lift whenever a piece of equipment just gets too old. They send it through this system called CARP. It basically they sell it on auction pretty much. I don't really know how it works, but it doesn't really matter. Until it's sold, though, it kind of just sits at the store and doesn't really do anything. So my manager asked me, he's like, hey, can we kind of just take that lift, bring it over to another store? We need to use it for something. I think one of the guys like had to get it to the top of a flagpole. No, thank you, by the way. I do not do heights very well. If it's outside, no thanks. So I had to do that one time, by the way. No, never again. Anyway, though, so we bring it over there. This scissor lift is toast, by the way. The batteries are just gone, and we barely got it onto the trailer and dragged over there and everything. So now 2 weeks pass, and nobody tells me anything. Nobody ever said, hey, we're done with it. You can come back and bring it back to your store. Nothing. So, Monday, we were going to go ahead and bring it back to the store. Unfortunately, my boy Q, his trailer had a flat. So, it's all good. It happens, no big deal. However, unbeknownst to me, they had actually come to pick up the scissor lift that they bought. The people that bought the scissor lift had come to pick it up, and it wasn't there. So, yeah, it was just kind of really funny in a way that it just so happened the day that I was going to bring it back, they just showed up wanting this scissor lift, and it wasn't there. So, the guy gets on the phone with his boss, and she's acting kind of pissy a little bit, and she's like, well, you guys borrowed a piece of equipment that we bought. Now, I kind of wanted to be a little bit of a smartass and be like, okay, when did you guys actually buy it? Because honestly, you probably bought it just the other day, and it's been gone we borrowed it 2 weeks ago. So yeah, nah. So nothing really came of it. They just went to the other store, picked it up, and it's fine. But I just thought that was just such a stupid, funny freaking situation that happened. And yeah, I'll be real though, it was a terrible idea. Like, I thought this was a terrible idea because this thing was toast. It barely drove, let alone freaking raised and lowered. Like, nah. By the way, guys, if you didn't know, don't put tap water or drinking water in batteries. Put distilled water in your batteries, please, because that's how those batteries were just absolutely roasted. Because apparently they'd been putting just normal bottled drinking water into their batteries for years, and no, that's a big no-no. That just destroys your batteries. Thankfully, most batteries have gone to sealed gel batteries, so you don't really have to worry about that. But yeah, just if you do for some reason have batteries that still have to be serviced like that, please, for the love of God, don't put normal water in there. You gotta get distilled water for that. So anyway, yeah, there's my PSA for the day. Let's go ahead, head into the desert. There's absolutely nothing going on in this side of the gauntlet, so we can skip straight to Nacrene to get a funny looking rock. And then whenever we head into Pinwheel Forest to get that rare candy, we can actually surf on over and pick up the silver powder. This is going to be a great item for us, being able to boost our bug type moves, and that's going to be really useful coming up in the Dragon Gym. So let's fly back to Icarus City and face off with Bianca over on Route 8. Alright, let's go, Bianca, and thanks to it being raining, we don't even have to worry about that 9% miss chance. We can just drop thunders all day, baby. Stoutland Simisear go down. Samurott, that's definitely gonna go down. Musharna, I don't even bother switching over to super effective Signal Beam. That drops. Let's go. You love to see it. So, after meeting up with Getsus and his ninjas on the bridge, we're going to stop by the shopping mall and pick up some calciums. However, I don't actually have enough money to get full on calciums. I'm only able to buy 5, and that's actually where something like skipping the TM for return could have actually came in. I spent $10,000 on that, Poké Dollars on that, and that could have got me another vitamin. I could have also picked up the bomb mushroom in the early game and sold it out on Route 5, and that goes for 25 grand. So I might have actually been able to get all the calciums that I needed that way. So fortunately, like I said, I'm never going to be the absolute best at these runs, so there is definitely a lot more room to grow with this one. So let's go ahead, head into Opelousas City, though none of the gym trainers are going to give us any problem. Shoutouts to Hugo, though, and let's face off with our final gym leader. Alright, let's do this, Daddy Drayden. So he starts off with the Fracture. I'm actually just going to go straight for Signal Beam. I probably should have gone for Charge Beam, try to get a boost, just so I can get through the Drudagon faster without him having to heal and stuff like that. But not really that big of a deal. We get to level 54. We're going to say no to Discharge because we got Thunder, baby. We're going to go for a Signal Beam, get Dragon-tailed out. Little bit annoying, but it's still gonna give us a win pretty easily. So yeah, probably could have improved that fight a little bit by just trying to get a Charge Beam boost, and I don't have to waste all the time here with Timpole learning moves and stuff like that. But yeah, either way, we got our 8th gym badge. Let's head out towards Route 10, do a little bit of training, and then face off with Cheren. Alright, let's do this, Cheren, one last time. He's going to lead off with the Unfez, and I'm going to go for a Charge Beam and get a nice boost. And then we're going to drop that Thunder. 91% accurate. I'm not scared. Signal Beam onto the Liepard, and one more for the Simisage as well. Nice and easy. Let's go. So as we make our way through Victory Road, we're going to do a whole bunch of training, as well as picking up the extra veteran, because she has 3 great Pokemon that all give special attack EVs, and that's fantastic. So on the other side, we're going to pop out at the league at level 58. Let's do this. Caitlin's up first. She's going to lead off with that Reuniclus. We are still rocking Signal Beam, but that's more than enough to get the knockout there. I'm going to go for a Charge Beam onto the Sigilyph. Unfortunately, I don't get a boost, and because of that, Musharna is actually going to be able to live, which easily tank that Psychic, and I'm just going to keep spamming Signal Beam. I probably should be going for a Charge Beam here, but yeah, it is what it is. So we do actually switch it up, go for that, get a boost, and that lets us one-shot the Gothitelle. Nice and easy. Moving on to our second member. Grimsley isn't really going to be too bad. We got Magnet Boosted Thunder that'll just roast that Scrafty. Crocodile, we got Signal Beam for you, no problems. Bisharp comes in next, switch it right back to Thunder, get to level 60, and we get that upgrade to Bug Buzz. Let's go. One more Bug Buzz onto that Liepard, easily drops it. There we go, moving on. Let's do this Marshall. He can be kind of dangerous thanks to him having Stone Edge on pretty much everything. So Sock's going to come out. I'm going to go for Bug Buzz to break that Sturdy, and then I go for Charge Beam, which it actually lives. Oh, that's actually incredibly unfortunate. So yeah, that kind of sucks. So unfortunately though, we're kind of stuck here because Sock keeps critting me, and that really sucks. So yeah, if I had just gone for Charge Beam into another Charge Beam, I have no worries. This would have been a first try victory, which is really just unfortunate. But yeah, after 7 resets though, Sock doesn't just stops critting me, and I'm able to power through. A little bit unfortunate right there, but yeah, we only got 1 member left. Let's go. For Chantal, we switched up our moveset and item and spent a couple rare candies, getting to level 65, and with a couple of Charge Beam boosts, we are able to just kind of power through this. Golurk comes out. We do have to go for Resisted Bug Buzz, but it actually gets the one-shot, which is fantastic. And then we could drop 1 more Thunder onto that Jellicent. I didn't even have to use my rest, which is awesome. So let's go ahead, head downstairs, see how Alder is dealing with N. N summons his gigantic castle out of the ground, somehow, and it's up to us to chase him down through it because Alder couldn't hack it. Come on, old man, just gotta get you a super cool Galvantula. I know you like bug types. This one's doing pretty cool. So anyway, let's chase him down through the castle. We need nothing in here. Let's just face off with the man himself in the throne room. By having a full party, we can deny adding Reshiram to us so we can lead Zekrom v Galvantula and go for a Bug Buzz and land a critical hit for the one-shot. However, Caracosta comes out, Charge Beam, and then Stone Edge puts me into the very low red. which means that an Aqua Jet is going to finish me off. Really unfortunate right there, so that definitely really sucks. I'm going to give it another try, but once again, we take damage from the Zekrom. We don't get the crit this time, and then Caracasa finishes me off. So I'm actually going to take the blackouts right here, just so I can just skip catching the dragon and all that fun stuff, because we might have to rely on a Stone Edge miss right here, which is never a great strategy to have to hope for. So let's go ahead and skip to the winning attempt. That's right, the winning attempt is the next attempt, because after we go for Bug Buzz here to knock out this Zekrom, I forgot I had another option. We drop a Thunder, and we get the paralysis. Let's go. So Charge Beam is just going to be able to finish it off. It's not going to go for Aqua Jet with us this healthy. And then we go. We can just keep powering our way through with Charge Beams and Thunders. Zoroark's going to drop to a single one. Kling Klang is going to drop as well. Vanillux, no problems. We are hitting all of our Thunders today, baby. Let's go. And there we go. So, yeah, kind of unfortunate that I was kind of thinking I needed to go for a Stone Edge dodge, and we just kind of get it on the next attempt, but it is what it is. Getsus is going to throw his tantrum. Let's take him down. Alright, so let's go. So Coffergreekus is going to lead off just like we did with Chantal. We're just going to try to fire off some Charge Beam, get some boost. Thanks to our Resto Chesto, we are able to heal up off that Toxic and go straight into Hydreigon. We have more than enough speed to outspeed this guy, and we can just kind of keep going to town. Don't have to risk a Thunder Mist onto the Bisharp. Electros drops. Bouffalant comes out. I am going to go for Thunder. That thing's pretty bulky, and all that's left is the Seismitoad, so one more Thunder is going to drop, bringing us up to level 68 to finish the game. Not half bad. Let's go. So yeah, this Pokemon was fantastic. Sure, it had a couple hiccups. Marshall kind of really sucked, and I've already pointed out a couple ways that this run could really be improved, but yeah, who knows, maybe down the line I'll re-rank it and incorporate some of those things. But as we see here, N's final dialogue ends, and we land a very solid 1 hour 37 minutes flat with 6 blackouts and 8 resets. So yeah, fantastic Pokemon. I thought this was a great performance, and I enjoyed it immensely. Definitely brought back great memories from that very first solo challenge that I did. And honestly, sure, it may not be the absolute best time that we have on the leaderboard, which we're going to see here in a little bit, but this was one of my favorite runs. I just love Pokemon like this, so super cool. Anyway, let's wrap up these credits and go ahead and rank this guy. There we go. We got a final in-game time of 5 hours and 11 minutes. And as we bring in the tier list, we see it ranks into the B tier. Not half bad. Right behind Hydreigon, but above Behem. So yeah, this run, like I said, could definitely be improved. I don't know if it's going to be enough to move it up a whole tier spot, but it could definitely move up into this B tier a little bit more. So overall, though, I had so much fun with this run. I highly suggest this one. Electro types do struggle a lot in Unova, because, you know, most of them seems like they have to rely on Charge Beam, which is just terrible. But Galvantula just circumvents half of that problem, because you know, you don't miss Charge Beam, which is just awesome. So, or you're Electros and you have to start as a Dynamo. So there's that. I gotta re-rank that. Ugh, I'm not really looking for that one, but anyway, overall though, this Pokemon is fantastic. It is so much fun. It is definitely, in my opinion, probably the best electric type outside of Zekrom, of course, that we're going to be able to use in this series. So overall though, I hope you had a great time. Go ahead and wrap things up. We're continuing on with Spooky Month. once again next week, where we're going to be crossing paths with a black cat Liepard. So, yeah, that one's definitely going to be really interesting. I promise you want to check that one out. So, anyway, let's wrap this thing up. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. Like, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. I love you all. Deuces.